Hi, today I wanted to do an update on my Hobonichi weeks that I've been using for a personal and a work planner. Previously I was using a cousin and I really liked it. It worked out great. There were just a few issues I had with it, one of them being like privacy and the other one being the size and the weight. When I say privacy, if I had it open on my desk at work, all of my lesson plans were there, but also my personal stuff that I would have put in my planner. And so I was looking to get something smaller, but that would have the capacity to fit everything in it, and I thought I'd give the weeks a try. So I've been using it for about a month. I love the size. It's so compact and easy to fit in my bag, and I have to say that at times I do miss the cousin. I liked the cover of the cousin. I liked the size and the space, but in exchange for the portability, I will take the weeks. I think maybe I would feel differently maybe if I had a different cover other than just the navy cover, but this is the one that I have, and it's working. So one of my issues with the plastic cover is that it doesn't have the double pen loop to make the cover lock when you put a pen in it. I think that was a really great idea on the A6 and the A5, and I'm not sure why they don't do it on the weeks, because it seems pretty simple, and when you're stuffing this in and out of your bag and you're putting other things in there, I've had several pages get munched up. I mentioned that in a previous video, and a viewer suggested I use a rubber band, like a hair tie, and I've been doing that, but it's not cute or anything. It's just, it looks like that, but it works. I don't have a better solution. I don't want to make another purchase from the Hobonichi store and have to pay the shipping all the way from, Japan, just to get like that wraparound band that has the little button on it. I bought one for my cousin and I never used it. It was more of a hassle than anything. So this is pretty fast and easy to get off, and then I hook it on the pen loop so I don't lose it. I've noticed that my bookmarks are fraying a little bit. Excuse the ink on my fingers. I was cleaning fountain pens and I didn't see that. They're fraying a little bit. I think I'm okay with that for now, but if it gets worse, I might have an issue with it. So yeah, I think the cover is really cute, the Bonbon cover. I've been using that, and I've been pleased with that. I don't know if I said this in my last video, but when you open it like this, it looks like a schoolgirl's uniform, like a lapel with a little ponytail hanging down, and maybe this is like a little pin that she has on, and I don't know. That's the way I think about it. So yeah, it's holding up really nicely though, and I have absolutely no complaints about the cover. The other thing I love about this cover, and I would suggest if you have a weeks and you don't have the plastic cover, to me this is worth the price completely. The fact that you open it and you open exactly to your week that you're on. This little plastic flap is genius, and I'm hoping it will last through the whole year. I would imagine it does. This just lays completely flat, which is wonderful. It's so small on the desk, so I don't mind it there at all. But I love this flap because it just keeps my place. I don't have to use one of these little bookmarks, and it's perfect. So every time you open your planner, you're opening to the perfect spot. I'll kind of go back to the front. I don't keep anything in this pocket, and like I said, if you haven't already pulled this off of yours, you should definitely do that and use it. So in the front, I've been keeping track of weight and cycle on this spread, and it's working perfectly because there's not a whole lot of room to write things in there, just to write numbers, and it's fine. I'm using the book dart on this page, but I've realized that the book darts they're not really doing anything for me. I liked the idea of them, but I only flip to this page maybe once a week, and it's super easy to find because it's only like 2 pages in, so the book dart is kind of unnecessary. In fact, I'm going to remove it now. I had it marking like, the current month, but I think it's a little bit unnecessary. Then we get into the months, and again I have the book dart here for the month. I think that I will keep this here because, so I'll share something with you all. I'll turn the page where I have a little less personal information at this point. So do you see that right there on this page? I had gone through, I had some stickers that were really small, but they said the months of the year. And so what I did is I went through and happily and enjoyed putting the month of the year sticker there every year, and I think that you can see it, like where there's no grid. And it fit perfectly in that little slot right there. Once I had finished and I, opened it to the current week, there was just this huge raised bump here because I had put that sticker in the same place every time. So then after I had happily went through and did that, I went through and peeled off every sticker that was there because that hump of sticker was driving me crazy. And so now they all have this messed up spot right here. Every single month has one. Some months it was easier than others, but like this one, I think you can even see some of the sticker on this previous one. So note for future self, or for you if you were thinking about putting stickers, I would be careful with stickers. Oh, it's right here. I don't even know if this was, oh, it did say like 3 letters. I don't know why I was doing that. I was just happy to be decorating. And so I had put stickers in the planner and several other places, and I went through and I peeled them all off. So there are spots in my planner where I have these little parts of my pages that have these little like ripped off areas because I just couldn't handle having the bumps in the page. It was driving me crazy. So I know now I will never put stickers in a Hobonichi ever again because the paper's so thin. So they were the I think the Recollections stickers from Michaels. They came for they were selling for the little personal planners that they had. I was using those. So in the monthly spread, I'm keeping a bookmark. So I have these book darts here, and this was just covering up that awful ripped off part in every single month. I know that some of you would be horrified by that. I was mildly horrified, and then I got over it because I wasn't going to buy another one. So what I did is instead at that point I went through and wrote in all the United States holidays. This doesn't have that because it's a Japanese planner, and I highlighted them in blue. I put them up by the date in the month box, and then I separated the weekend from the rest of the week with just a line so that visually I could see where the weekend was, since in my mind still it's like Sunday's over here, even though I prefer to have the Monday over here. It's still pretty ingrained in there. So what I use my monthly calendar for is just to indicate holidays, any kind of appointment or a recurring task, and of course, like, birthdays or something like that. And then the other thing I put in here is school events, because we pretty much have an event every week, and it will vary depending on what event it is. It will vary on what day it is. I'm also keeping track of measurements down here for the month. I'll measure various parts to see how I'm doing. And yeah, so this is working really nicely. It's super easy to make appointments because I was able to forward plan out. You'll notice that I do white things out. Sometimes I cross it out, but if I need to, I'll go back and white it out. I have absolutely no problem with using whiteout in this. Just because the squares are pretty small, I do find that I'm able to fit everything in the squares, but it's small, and I would rather have it visually cleared than having a bunch of stuff crossed out. I have to say that clearly I'm still using the Unijet stream that came with it, and I loved the Unijet stream I had before. I'm just using the blue one. It's just, the one that came with it. But I think this is a perfect match for this planner. You really need a fine tip because everything is so small and compact, and this gives me 3 different colors to choose from. A few times I've used different pens in here, but I've really decided that I like this size, and I like the fact that it's a multi-pen. If I had other colors to choose from, I might use those, but as far as ink, but I think this gives you enough variation, and it, just the small tip size makes the writing so much neater. You can actually read it, because I mean, these are pretty small squares. I don't have huge hands, and that square is very tiny. So going through, then I did some experimenting in the front in pages that had already passed. I tried different stamping things, and I was using it for a grocery list. I tried some nib tests on here. Because I was thinking maybe I wanted to use a fountain pen in this. I don't think so. I don't want to have to wait for it to dry, and it takes a little while on the Tomoe River paper. This pen is just, like I said, it's a perfect companion for this. So going through, this was the first week that I used it, and I've been separating my weekend with a line again. It's just to visually see like where I am, because it's just a different setup than what I'm used to. I was making some notes over here of things to buy, or things that I needed to do, and that was working out okay. This week I was still off of work, and I returned to work at that Saturday. So I was experimenting with some little stamps. I have the Marion Smith small teeny tiny planner stamps that are really cute, and I was just using those to see how it would look, or if I liked it. To me, it looked really busy. I mean, I had a lot of stuff going on anyways that I was trying to wrap up before going to work, but this made it look even busier, and I didn't feel like it added anything to it that helped me out. It was fun to stamp though, but then when I was looking at the spread, it was really busy. So yeah, this was my first full week at school using the planner, and so you can see that it was still pretty busy. I was writing all of my to-dos over here because I was so used to doing that with the cousin, having the space on a day, and I wasn't using this very much. I was using it for a few notes, and I did a few work to-dos here, but not really utilizing this space like I could have. But even on really busy days, I still managed to fit everything I needed in these. I think that it wouldn't have looked so busy had I utilized more of the space over here. Another thought would be what I have seen other people do, which is to extend the box so that this whole thing is like a, for Monday, Tuesday. That's something that I've thought about. So this was oh yeah, this was, again, we're at work now, right? I was having to orient myself to this. And so I just had, my to-dos for the day, and you can see I can fit, quite a bit in these spots. I know that this is a Japanese planner, but it would be kind of nice if this was not here. In fact, I even think it would be nice if this little calendar was maybe moved somewhere like up to the top corner, and then all of this space at the bottom was just, it was all just extended. Everything just got a little more room. I would really like that. But I had all my to-dos for work over here that I had to get done that week. So this is the first week that I had with students, and you can see that things really look like they've lightened up in my calendar, but that's just because the majority of my day is now taken up with work and students, and I've done my lesson plans elsewhere. And so these were more my personal to-dos. And then what I started doing is putting a line here, and putting personal to-dos here, and work to-dos here. These were things that didn't have to get done on a certain day, but just needed to get done that week. And I will have this out on my desk open during my prep period, so that I have, and I'll make my list of all the things that I need to get done. And so this is, I can see that. But then when students come in, all I do is just close the book, and I have my little lesson plan book, and it works really nicely. So this, looks more, I think, typical, or this too, right? This was the second week with students. And so this day I had a lot of things that had to be done specifically on that day for work and home. So it just looked really cramped. I think that if I was more careful about how I wrote, the size of my writing, and the neatness, it wouldn't look so messy. But it, because there's sometimes that I really do like write nice and neat, right? And it looks very easy to read and see. But then when I'm in the middle of something and I'm just making a quick note, it doesn't always look very nice to me. So that might be something that I try to be more cognizant of as I go forward. I saw somebody's video, I think it was Vegan Organizer, and she said she writes in all caps, and that makes everything look really nice and neat. So I might try to do that, but that's not something I would normally do. So I don't know if I can keep that up. So again, home to-dos, work to-dos. This seems to be working out pretty well because I can fit quite a bit of information. If I do write nice and neat and I write in the boxes, I can fit quite a bit of information here. So this is my next week. Oops, sorry about that. This is next week. And so I've already got my, work to-dos going, and I will do planning probably tomorrow, where I transfer any undone tasks over here that, aren't really time specific, but I want to keep them on my list. And then, I think this is how my week is shaping up. Things are already filling in on Monday. This is a note I need to remember. So yeah, it's just kind of working out as I go through. And so what I do, and I think I've said this before, is I, have all of the things on my monthly calendar, and then usually it's like week at a time, I will go back and to the monthly calendar and just double check to make sure I had everything on my weekly calendar. At the beginning of the month, I try to use my monthly calendar to fill in all my weeks, but I will always double check that just to make sure I didn't miss something. So I have school events already written in here because I know when all of those are for the rest of our school cycle till June. So far that has been working out really well. Like I said, I miss some of the space in the cousin because I felt like I just had more room to spread out, but I think the ability to divide things up is nice. And I was going to use the notes section, which I also have a book dart in that I don't need because I have a bookmark, right? And it works perfectly. The notes section, I left a few blank pages for the table of contents, and I took some notes on a professional development that we had, and I thought that it would be kind of nice to just have everything here, not on separate sheets of paper. I was going to do my lesson plans in the back. That was how I thought this Hobonichi Weeks was going to work for me, to be personal and professional. But when I thought about it, I like to archive my lesson plans for various reasons that I won't go into here. And so I always keep the paper copy, because I always have a paper copy. And I keep it in my desk at work where I do my lesson plans, because that's where I'm working, right? And I thought, if I have this book, if I keep this at work, then all my personal stuff is in here as well, and that's easily accessible to anybody that comes in, because nothing is private in your public school classroom. They can go through anything. So I didn't like the idea of that, but if my lesson plans are in here, then I don't have any other choice. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to use these pages for lesson plans. I'll just use them for notes on things. And if I, go through the year and I don't hardly use any of them, I'm okay with that, because the rest of the planner is well used. So what I did is I bought the little separate booklets, and I've been doing my lesson plans in here. I thought, I could do this with the cousin, right? I could have bought the separate booklets for the cousin, did my lesson plans in those, and then did my personal plans on the cousin pages. But I don't really have that many personal plans to fill up a whole A5 page. So I didn't really see that scenario working out very well for me. The cousin worked well because I could fit all my lesson plans and personal plans on one page, but I'm trying to get away from doing that. So I got these little books, and they're working out great. Because when my students come in, my planner is closed, and I just have this little book open on my desk, and it takes up like no room, and it's super easy to deal with. if I am going to archive it, this is what goes in my filing cabinet, which is literally nothing. I could just put a Post-it or write with a Sharpie, like, fall 20, or, January to June 2017. And I believe that I would, if I only use one page per day, I will be able to fit the entire school cycle in here, because we have a 22-week school cycle with 20 weeks of school. So I've been using the pencil board as my bookmarker in here, and it works great because then I also write on it, and I enjoy that. So I'll white things out on here as well. There are reasons I have for whiting out certain things versus crossing out, so that I can see, what worked and what I needed to move. I won't get into all of that. That's more of like a teacher planning video. Maybe I should think about making one of those. But for now, you can see that I am able to fit what I'm doing on one day per page. So I teach 2 different courses, and I do my lesson plans pretty small, just because I just need to keep track of like what I'm doing in what order. And I've worked out, when I sit down to do my lesson plans, exactly how I'm going to teach it. I wouldn't write all of that in here because I don't need to do that at this point. But this has been good for just keeping track and seeing what I'm doing. You see, like, sometimes I'll white things out, sometimes I cross things out for various reasons. And this is just a Post-it that I keep on my desk, and so I'll just, get a new one once this is done. But I teach 5 different classes of students, and so I just keep track of where each class is, because if you're a teacher, you know that even though you have a lesson plan that looks nice, all of your classes are at different places because kids have questions, or you get things done, or you go off and have a discussion or whatever. So I just keep this in here so that when I look at my lesson plans over the weekend, just to prepare what I'm going to do, I have an idea in my mind of where I'm going to start with each class, even though this is my plan and it tells me where I'm going. So it's working out really well, and I think you can see I crunched that page. But I think that, this was going to be great for my needs. And so one thing that I really like is that I'm able to plan my personal life around my professional life. And so what I mean by that is my work, we have a pacing guide and a curriculum map, and we are expected to stay on that map. And that means that, different days are going to have different challenges depending on what I'm teaching, and so it's nice to have all of my lesson plans here so that when I sit down and do my meal planning for the week, I know what I'm going to be teaching on what days in the week ahead. And so if it's going to be a particularly rough day, I try to, meal plan something a little easier. And so, and the same with, like, making an appointment or something, I try to keep that in mind so that I hopefully don't overwhelm myself. But we all know with modern day life, it's quite overwhelming. So anyway, I just wanted to share how I was using this and that I'm really enjoying it. I have felt the need to go back to the cousin a few times, just on days where it gets really cramped. But then, the new day comes, and I don't necessarily feel that anymore. And I think just the sheer portability of it makes up for anything that it lacks as far as roominess and space, because it's so easy to carry around. I imagine one day when I don't have papers to grade, I can just walk out of school with my purse and stick this in there, and I don't even have to carry like anything around with me. It'll be great. So anyway, I hope that you found this useful. Of course, if you have any questions, you can ask me below. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you're doing well. Bye.